If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today, I'm super excited, maybe a little too excited to sew along with you, the Kato Drawstring project bag. How cute is this? Now this is the smallest size. It is so itty bitty. I made the small one. This one is actually for me, for myself, because this is the perfect bag to throw in my purse with my sock knitting in it. So as most of you know, trying to get it to focus. There we go. I am addicted to knitting socks, so making this little project bag definitely was really amazing. I've also been struggling with Sojo. This is a super easy, super beginner pattern, and I had a viewer tell me sometimes about your Sojo, all you have to do is sew something that is simple and fun and for yourself, and it just sparks something, and this one definitely sparked something in me. My Sojo is back thanks to this little bag. Completely domestic machine friendly. This is put out by Kandou Patterns. This is my first time doing a Kandou, actually Kandou Crafts. So thank you, Caroline, for allowing me to do this tutorial. It is written for cotton fabrics. Now I did add in a vinyl bottom in this one. You definitely wouldn't want to do the drawstring channel, or probably even the front with the vinyl. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get it to cinch shut. So yeah, it's so cute. And it's so much fun. You can use all these fun fabrics with it. It does have pockets on the inside, so you can slip in any of your crafting supplies that you have, like knitting needles or circular needles or crochet hooks or scissors or what have you. The small size, for what I use it for, I don't know if I'll really use the pockets too much, but they're definitely there to do it. And these small, medium, and large, they get significantly larger as they go. You will be able to see all the measurements in the pattern, but I took this one especially because I'm going to be going on an airplane ride and I want to be able to knit, and this is the perfect little bag to fit in my purse with my sock knitting project in it to keep my hands busy for that 5-hour flight. There is a cutting video on this. It should be posted already. I used paracord for my drawstring. It worked perfectly. Yeah, interfacing in this bag. Okay, fabrics. This bottom is pearl vinyl. I think I forget what it's called, crimson red or something, from Galaxy Customs. And the rest of this is cotton fabric. My exterior pieces, I interfaced, like my exterior cotton pieces, I interfaced with EB Fuse Medium just to give it a little extra canvasy feel to my cotton. You want it to be squishy. I haven't interfaced the vinyl at all. My lining and my channels, I interfaced with EB Fuse Light, which is a medium woven interfacing. And besides that, that's all there is to this bag. Very inexpensive to make. No hardware at all, except for my nameplate. Minimal interfacing, super fast sew. I did the cutting video and the full tutorial within 4 hours today, and that was showing you how to do it. That was editing the video and everything. So the tutorial is very, very quick on this one. Again, if you are lacking Sojo like I have been, make this bag, because I'm back. I am completely back. So what else? I think that's really all there is to say about this bag. How about we get to making it? You're going to need some kind of cording, nameplate, and I am going to use some webbing for my handle, 2 base pieces, 2 internal pocket pieces, 2 drawstring cord pieces, 2 main fabric pieces, and 2 lining pieces. Okay, so now we're going to take our base pieces on our front main panels. We're going to find our top and bottom centers, put in some small snips or marks, and then we're going to put the base piece right sides together with the main. Make sure if you're using directional fabric that you have it orientated the right way. And you're going to go ahead and sew across here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and do the same with the other side. That seam is sewn, we want to press it like so with the seam pointing towards the base, and then top stitch through the base for both pieces. At this point, I went ahead and I put my nameplate in. Now we're going to take these two exterior pieces, put them right sides together. Make sure you're matching up where our bases meet, so we have a nice continuous line once we go to sew this together. You're going to clip together the two sides. And you're also going to clip together the bottom. You will not be clipping where the corners are. We're just going to leave those open for now. And then we're going to go down all three of these sides with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but not on the corners or the top. Once that's done, just on the two or the four little corner pieces like so, you just want to go in with a 45-degree angle. That's going to help reduce some of the bulk. You want to go ahead and you want to press all of these seams open. Now, because I used vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and use some double-sided tape here, but you can definitely use an iron. Once you have that all done, we're going to pinch the corners and we're going to box them. You're going to match up the side seam and the base seam. Make sure you have a nice straight line and bring that opening together. Hold with a couple clips, and then you're going to go ahead and sew across those with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And there we go, that's exterior done. You can go ahead and set this aside for now. Now we're going to work on our lining pocket pieces. We're going to fold them right sides together like so. Make sure you have it orientated properly, and we're going to sew across that raw edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Next, we're going to go ahead and we are going to put these tubes right side out and give them a really good press. Now on one of them, I'm measuring in 3 inches from each of the short sides, so just two 3-inch lines. And on the second pocket piece, I am going to find my center by folding it in half and draw a center line. Now we want to take our two main lining panels and find our top and bottom centers. And I found using my 1-inch ruler really helps here. So I'm going to line my 1-inch ruler right up at the top of those box corners and put this pocket right on top of that like so. Hold it together on the sides with some clips. You'll do the same with the opposite one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to baste along this side, top stitch across the bottom here, up, over and down, across, up, over, down, across, and up the other side. And you'll do the same with the other side. The double stitching in the middle helps reinforce that pocket a little bit to make sure it's nice and strong. And the way we're doing it, we don't have to break our thread at all. So we're top stitching across that bottom section, pivoting, going up beside that first line that we drew. You get to the top, you're going to pivot, go over about 1 stitch, and then go back down about 1/8 of an inch or so away from that previous line that we drew, and so on and so forth for the other pockets. That's done. You can see the stitching pattern here. Now we want to take these just like we did with the exterior and put them right sides together, and we are going to clip all 3 sides. To the bottom, we're doing it slightly different. We're going to measure in about 1 inch from each of the bottom corners like so, and we're going to leave this open for turning later. So we will only sew between those 1 inch marks and down the sides with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, just like we did with the exterior, but leaving the bottom open. So now we're going to do the same as we did with the exterior, press those seams open and box those corners and stitch those with a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. Now we should have our lining that has an opening in the bottom and our exterior. We can go ahead and put the lining aside for now. Now we're going to do our handle placement. So go ahead and take your exterior and put it right sides out, push out all of those seams. And on our strap piece, once we get there we go, we have a strap piece. We're going to measure in 1 inch from each of the short edges and make a mark with some chalk. And what we're going to do is we are going to draw from that 1 inch mark down to the corner a diagonal line on both ends. And then we're going to go ahead and cut it with our scissors along that diagonal line. Then we're going to take our exterior bag piece and we want to work with the right side. So we have our side seam facing us and we are going to make a mark. It's easier to mark it, I discovered, 3 inches from that side seam on either side. So I'm just going to put a mark there and a mark there. And then that is going to be our guide where we are going to, on the outside part of that mark, so on this side to the left of that mark, we're going to clip that angled part of the handle in place, and on this one to the right hand part, to the right hand of that mark, we will clip this in place, and then we're going to go ahead and we are going to baste the handle in place with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. This is what that looks like all done, and now we can work on our drawstring channels. So we're going to measure in from each of our drawstring channels a 1/2 inch in from each of the short sides, and then we're going to take this to the iron and we are going to press into that line, which is giving us a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance pressed in. Once you've done that on all 4, you're going to fold it in another 1/4 of an inch on each side and hold it together with clips. And then we are going to go ahead and top stitch these, Coco says hi, with right along those folds. have those all top stitched in place, we're going to go ahead and fold this lengthwise, wrong sides together. We'll do this with both of these channels, and we're going to base that raw edge with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to take our exterior, and you're going to see that this is going to line up perfectly along each of our panels with about 1/8 inch or so away from the side seams. So just center this nicely so we're matching up the raw edges. Once you've got one clipped in place, go ahead and put the other one on the opposite side and clip it in place. And then we're going to take this to the machine, and I'm going to sew this from the inside of the bag, and I'm going to base this in place with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now that that's done, so we have that all basted in place, we're going to take our lining and we are going to put our exterior inside our lining so it's right sides together. We're going to make sure the handle is down and the drawstring channels are pointing down. Line up your center marks on both the lining and the exterior main panels, as well as line up the side seams of both the lining and the exterior, making sure that you are pressing those lining seams flat, clip it in place, and then evenly distribute the fabric around the rest of the bag to prepare for sewing this together. Once that is done, we're going to go ahead and sew this along the inside with 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can sew this from the outside if you have a cylinder arm or a free arm. That would be another way of doing it. I usually would go to my cylinder arm, but because this bag is so easy to turn inside out and whatever, I'm going to be top stitching and everything exactly like this. Just double check everything was caught, and it was. And when it looks good, go ahead and turn it through the opening in the bottom of the lining. Be sure to give it a little tug at that seam just to make sure everything was caught and there's no raw edges. And then you can go ahead and stuff the lining inside the bag. And you can either finger press that seam nice and flat, or you can take it to the iron if you like. I'm just going to finger press it. But to top stitch this, I'm going to want to top stitch the exterior from the inside of the bag. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this inside out like so. Pull those seams nice and tight. And then you're going to go ahead and you are going to top stitch. Make sure your handle is kind of up towards the channel, and then we are going to top stitch from the inside of the bag, making sure we're not catching the tops of our pockets because you don't want to accidentally top stitch those shut. We're going to go around here with 1/8 inch seam allowance. Once that is done, go ahead and pull the exterior out like so. So we have our lining piece kind of free and clear. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn in those raw edges at that seam where we left it open, hold it in place with clips, and then we're going to top stitch those raw edges folded down in place, closing at the bottom of the bag with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now that that's done, it looks good. Go ahead and stuff the lining back inside the bag, press out those seams. We are so close to being done. All we have left to do is put the drawstring cable in. I give paracord a try for this. It's pretty inexpensive on Amazon, so I said, hey, why not? So I have one of these kind of drawstring things. You can also put this on a safety pin or just feed it through if you like. This thing, I do not know what it's called, but it sure does make putting ribbon or whatever. You could also use ribbon here to pull it through these channels. So bring one end through, we're starting on the left-hand side, bring it through one part of the channel, loop it over and go through the back channel, bringing it through to the other side. Bringing through the paracord, and then you're going to trim this up to the length you want it to be once it's fully opened. Give it a snip, and then tie this in a really, really good knot. Now I noticed the paracord likes to fray, so I did take a lighter to the end and melted the ends just to make sure that wouldn't go anywhere. So trimmed it up. And I'll just do a little bit of a melting trick here. You probably could put some zipper ends on here. That would probably be really pretty as well if you want to add a little bit of bling and hardware to it. Now we need to do another cord here. So once again, I'm going to use my tool, but now we're going to go in through the right side opening. So the opposite side, feed it through one side and around, and then back up through the other side, and then you will tie it off in the exact same fashion we did with the left side. And you guys, that's it. That's how fast this bag is to make. So the paracord seems to work okay. This is such a small bag. I didn't expect it to be this small, but it is perfect for the project I have in mind for my sock knitting. So yeah, pat yourself on the back. Nice and easy sew, perfect for a beginner and bag makers of all stages. And then we're done. That's it. That's all. Wasn't that enjoyable? It's fast and it's easy. And if you're a beginner, it is the perfect beginner bag to do for you. And if you are a multi-crafter like I am, you can never have enough project bags. I can't wait to make the other two sizes and fill them up. Yeah, I just love it. So if at any time you did like this tutorial, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you know when I'm posting new content. If you would like to support my channel further, you can buy me a coffee. That's linked down below. Also, check out my membership side. There may be some sew-along classes there that you may be interested in. And I have one last favor. If you made it all the way to the end, if you could leave a little yarn ball emoji in the comments, just so I know you made it this far, that would be amazing too. Anyways, until the next one, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.